Welcome to Cyber Culture Interface. Today we continue our reviews of CompTIA Security Plus domains. And today we are looking at domain 1, which is the general security concept. Once again, if you are joining us for the very first time, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. In our previous video, we talked about the 5 domains of CompTIA Security Plus, and domain 1, which is general security concept, is the first of the domains. And we are going to look at what knowledge, what aspect of your knowledge, or what knowledge is being tested by CompTIA Security Plus when it comes to domain 1. It's categorized into about 4 or 5 different topics here. And the first one is types of security controls. We are looking at fundamental security concepts. It's going to be looking at your knowledge of importance of change management processes and the use of cryptographic solutions. And under this is going to be testing things, your ability to compare and contrast security controls, how to summarize fundamental security concepts, your ability to explain change management processes and the security impact, and your ability to use appropriate cryptographic solutions when you're implementing your security control. Types of security controls. Under types, we have categories, and then these categories fall into technical, managerial, operational, physical controls. So the technical controls, is it involves the use of technology. Managerial controls involve the use of policies, or regulations. Operational controls are things that help you to talk about authorization, how operations are carried out. And physical controls definitely is talking about the use of physical methods, things like bollards, things like fences, things like gates. These are physical controls. And then there are types of controls. Aside from category, the types of controls we have that is expected or your knowledge of will be tested in domain 1 will include things like your understanding of preventive controls, your understanding of deterrence, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive. We know preventive controls are controls that stop things from happening. You prevent errors. Deterrents are the ones that discourage you errors. For example, is when you set up security cameras or things that discourages intruder from coming into your environment. When you talk about detective control, these are things that picks up intrusions. So when something has already intruded into your network or into your environment, these are detective control that spots incidences that have occurred. Then we have corrective. This corrective, takes care of the errors that already occurred. Compensating, compensate for it, and then directive controls are controls that uh, gives the direction. They set the pace of what should happen. More talking about policies, or procedures that have been put in place. So these are types of control: preventive, deterrent, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive controls. Then we are looking at fundamental security concepts. So your knowledge of fundamental security concept will be tested in domain 1. And when we're talking about fundamental security concept, the number 1 cybersecurity fundamental concept is usually known as the CIA, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And when we're talking about confidentiality, we are talking about the privacy of your data. We are talking about things that has to do with making sure your data is kept to you yourself or to the people who only need to have access to it. When you're talking about integrity, we are talking about the fact that your data should not be compromised, that the originality of your data is maintained. For example, when sending data from one person to the other, your data should not be altered. So integrity maintains, ensures that your data remains the way you want it to be. And then availability means your data or assets or resources that is being guided by cybersecurity is always available to whoever needs it or to who is supposed to have the information whenever the information is being requested for. So that is availability. So these 3 things forms the fundamental concept or the number 1 fundamental concept you need to understand in cybersecurity. Then another knowledge of general security concept that will be tested is your knowledge of or your understanding of what non-repudiation is. Non-repudiation is talking about when changes are made to your data, you cannot deny the changes in layman terms. No, so it means like when you change data, your details or your changes, whatever you did to the data will be captured and then it will be recorded. You cannot deny it. Let me use that word. Then we're talking about authentication, authorization, accounting. So your knowledge in these 3 things, these 3 concepts will also be tested by in domain one. So your knowledge of the authentication, authorizing accounting is talking about authenticating people and authenticating systems. So, how do you authenticate people? How do you authenticate people who are trying to access data or your environment? And then on authenticating systems, authenticating servers, authenticating your devices over a network. Then authorization models too. These are things that topics that you need to understand here. Then we have gap analysis, zero trust. Zero trust is basically talking about the fact that within a network or within your environment, you set up a policy that no account or no entity is completely trusted. Everyone must be checked for their authorization or the authenticity of their access that they are trying to get. And under zero trust, we have two planes. We have control plane and data plane. So control plane is talking about policy-driven access control, while data plane is talking about implicit trust zone. That is maybe you creating of zones within your organization, within your network, where certain activities or entities can be trusted. Then we have still under fundamental security concept, we have your knowledge of physical security will be trusted. So this physical security means will be your knowledge of the understanding of what this means. What are bollards, access control, vestibule, fencing, video surveillance, security guard, access bar. You all know these things. They are physical things that we come across almost every time. Lightning. Then under fundamental security concept also, we still have deception and disruption technology. So these are technologies that are used to that are implemented as a security means. So we have what we call honeypot, honeynet, honeyfile, honeytoken. Honeypot is like a sacrificial system that is set up with the intention of attracting hackers or anyone that is trying to gain unauthorized access to your devices. So it's like a decoy. So the intention is that when an attacker intrudes into an honeypot or hacks into that particular system that is set up as an honeypot, you are able to monitor their operations, their styles of the processes of hacking, and then you can use the information you get from there to be able to trace them to know how these hackers work. So honeypot is basically set up for the purpose of like a decoy attracting hackers. Then we have honeynet, which is a combination of honeypot. We have honey files. These are files that are not genuine, that are just set up. Maybe you just leave a file in your network or in your server so that when an hacker is coming in, he will think the file. For instance, you can name a file password.txt. Then an hacker hacks into it and starts trying to get access to that file, thinking is a file that contains password. So we have honey token that works around the same principles. Then we have change management processes and impact to security. So your knowledge of change management process will be tested, and these topics are things that will be expected that you can explain. So we are looking at business processes impacting security operation. Then here we are looking at approval processes, your understanding of what approval processes are or what do they mean. Ownership, or maybe data ownership, data custodian. We're talking about stakeholders, the knowledge of impact analysis, what are test results, what's the backup plan, maintenance video, and standard operating procedure. These are things that relate to your business and how your operations or business processes creates loopholes in the organization for hackers to have access, or this how these processes create vulnerability. What are the things you need to do on your business operations that ensures that there are no loopholes for hackers to get in? So your understanding of all these topics or all these terminologies is key. It will be tested. Also, technical implications of change management. Allow list, deny list, do you set up restricted activities? What's the downtime, service restart, application restart, legacy applications, dependencies? So these are technical things that you do, that are directly related to change management. For instance, allow list, deny list can be set up when someone is trying to access or make a change to a file and the person is under deny list. The deny list will make sure that the deny list is a rule that will be implemented and will block such persons. And if you are under the allow list, or maybe your entity, your uh, user accounts is under has been permitted by the deny list, or URL or IP address is permitted on the allow list, then you are able to access such zones or such resources within your network. So these are technical implications or technical ways of implementing change management process. So all these things, your knowledge in these areas will also be tested in domain one. Then we have documentation, how documentation is carried out. Documentation involves things like diagram, policy, or procedure updates, and also change management process as regards version control. What's a version control? An example of a tool for version control is GitHub. So version control is talking about documenting or taking note of the changes that happens within your resources. For instance, in software development, when you're creating versions of different software, how do you manage the changes or the versions, different versions of software? The last main thing under general security concept that will be tested is your knowledge or the use of appropriate cryptographic solutions. So under cryptographic solutions, we are having topics like public key infrastructure. What's a public key high? What's a public key infrastructure? What's a private key? What's a key escrow? Then we are talking about encryption. There are full disk encryption, partitioning, what's files, volumes, database, record, encrypting your record, transport communication, encryption over, asymmetric and symmetric key exchange algorithms, key length. So these things are terminologies that you understand under encryption that helps to give a full description of what encryption you are using or how you implement cryptographic solutions. Also, we are talking about tools. What are tools you make use of that enforces or tools you use to create encryption? We are looking at trusted platform modules, TPM, hardware security modules, key management system, and secure enclave. So these are forms of encryptions or things that you use to implement encryption in your operating systems, for instance, so that when a system is being stolen, how or a system is trying, is being protected from, being able to be accessed when it falls into the wrong hand or when it's been hacked into. So tools are example of these tools are trusted platform models. So you need to understand what this tool does and how they are being used. Then what is obfuscation? Sorry. So we under obfuscation with apps things like steganography, tokenization, data masking. So what is steganography? What is tokenization? What is data masking? How and when do they are they implemented? What is hashing? How do you implement hashing? Salting. What's the difference between hashing and salting? Digital signatures. Can you make comparison, differentiate between hashing, salting, digital signatures? When and where have they been implemented? Key stretching, blockchain, understanding of what blockchain is, open public ledger, certificates. What is the use of certificates? What are certificate authorities, certificate revocation, online certificate status protocol? We have third party root of trust. These are terminologies and things that you need to understand. You have definitions, you understand how they are being implemented, you understand where and when they are being made use of, and what are the impact of this technology and solutions. So these are basically things you need to understand under cryptographic solutions. So domain one, knowledge of general security concepts will all feature these five or four main topics: use of appropriate cryptographic solutions, change management process and impact, fundamental security concepts, and types of security controls that you are going to make use of. So I trust that this objective will be of help to you while preparing for your Security Plus certification. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll also tend to take this topic and explain further in subsequent videos. And while we go through all the other domains, domain two, we're going to review domain two, domain three, and domain four and five. Once again, this is Cyber Culture Interface. Thank you for watching.